One thing I would always say to anyone is when you're leading the council, your phone's never off. You're never off grid. You're always, you've got to accept that you're always on duty. It's the infuriation of people in my family. That's just the case. You do just need to have, you are always on duty, I would put it. But at the same time as being on duty, perhaps you just have one eye on duty and one eye on other things. Those other things are obviously spending time with my family. I have 3 daughters. My wife, with whom I love spending time with, and having our days out, weekends away. That's really critical. I'm a keen swimmer, a keen cyclist. I love doing all that things. I have a passion for the environment. I do, predates my time standing for office is thinking about those environmental issues on which we're doing, and just getting out in the great outdoors, enjoying a bit of good food, and spending time with family and friends.
Right, we share a passion for cycling. This may bore some of our viewers, but I know some of them are hardcore cyclists as well. What sort of cycling do you do?
At the moment, largely utility cycling, taking the kids to school and riding around the town. I don't do much else. A long time ago, I competed in a couple of triathlons. Cycling was always my weakest leg of the triathlon. But that was the bit at which the other guys kind of streaked past me after I'd got ahead of them on the swim, and then I had to pull it back on the run at the end. But that's about the limit of my cycling at the moment. But even when the weather's like this, I do like to get out, push on up into the downs if I can find the time. Doesn't happen enough. I must make more of an effort.
Do you still run or swim much?
I haven't. Obviously, the leisure centres are closed at the moment, but do like to get down there for a swim. Unfortunately, I did my ankle a disservice a few years ago, and I can do about 2 or 3 miles running on the pavement now before I need to rest it for a good week or 2. So so doing anything more than that is probably never going to happen again. Although I probably don't help myself by carrying a stone or two too much weight. If I lost a little bit of weight, maybe my ankle would stand up to a bit more.
That's 10 minutes work, Dad. 10 minutes work. What's on the bucket list in terms of, are there any sort of great sporting missions that you can see coming up in the future that you'd like to tackle, or anything on the bucket list like that?
So the triathlon's done, the marathon's ticked off. As I say, doing any long distances like that is probably never going to happen again. So perhaps get back to some open water swimming and see if I can do some good distances on the open water swimming. That would be one that would be good. Started ticking off a few mountains in this country for climbing. So Snowdon and a couple of others that are relatively easier under the belt now. But those would be the sort of things that I'd like to focus on and keep doing.
Where would you most like to do open water swimming?
I don't mind getting out in the channel, but honestly, there's some fantastic lakes around the country. There's some really good coastal swims around the country that are organised and that people do. So if I could don the wetsuit and do a few of those, that would be really good fun. That would be really good fun. I love a bit of open water swimming. It was always my favourite part of the triathlon, was that battling with people with arms whacking you in the side of the head as you were swimming. That was what really got the adrenaline going for me.
The last and most obvious question to someone in Worthing is that you live in Worthing. Where would you go on holiday?
Yeah, why would you? When you live in Worthing, even, no, Worthing's a great place. Where do I go on holiday? In recent years, it's been much more domestic. It's been taking the kids off to Dorset, Snowdonia, off up to, further north, some of the other national parks. I served as a member on the South Downs National Park for a while, so exploring some of the national parks has been good fun. I love the Mediterranean, and when we get back to foreign holidays, which we have done with the 3 kids, but not that easy. I do love the Mediterranean, love the culture, I love the food, love the weather. We used to live in Australia before we settled in Worthing, my wife and I. So before we came back, so loved that, and Southeast Asia as well. We spent a couple of holidays out there for a while as well. It's another part of the world that we love.
So Worthing is just a sort of transition for you from the Far East to the UK. It's the easiest way.
No, Worthing's absolutely not a transition. Worthing is the place where we're raising our daughters. It's very much this is home. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah, actually, I might segue back to this. The last, very last thing, Dan. When you were doing your tourism work, at what point did you identify Worthing, and what were your thoughts about the place? What made you come back here? There must have been a seed planted earlier in your life.
Look, a big part of it was I'd been doing postgraduate study in Australia. My wife was working in Australia. I think it was, time for us to come back to this country. Neither of us had lived in Worthing before that. We didn't know Worthing, but we both got work down here in the south. And after living in another spot for just a little while, we moved along the coast to Worthing because we visited a couple of times. We loved it. It was admittedly convenient for our work, but we've never looked back. Great place to be raising our kids. We're really happy.